Hey, 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 good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, Talk About Tuesdays, and we got an exciting day today. We are here with many special people and many special questions that we can answer. Jakey Bakey, I sound great. That's good to hear. Max, Knight, welcome, welcome. Five others. Colleen, always on schedule. Chaz, many others. Rob Deerdick in the house, always. Good to see you, my friend. Just wanted to say hi, Mikey, LFG. We all know what that means. Jay, good to see you. Let's get the questions rocking and rolling. T-Rod, what's going on? Good morning, my brother. Good to see you as well. Joel, Rich, questions are starting already. Let's get going here. What were some of the sayings your parents used? Oh, I'll hit this for a second. What were some of the sayings your parents used when you were a kid? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. If you're not going to invest in yourself, what are you going to invest in? Don't go below the line and blame, shame, justification. Just a few of them that I still live by today and still teach and carry on and pass through me for others. My mom, especially, planting seeds under trees that she may never sit under, especially as a second grade teacher. She had no idea. Do you see fluoride-free toothpaste? Or do you use fluoride-free toothpaste? Sometimes. I alternate different types of shampoo, toothpaste, and soap. So get the most out of those. It's just one of the freaky nature things that I do. Let's see here. Father's Day is coming up. What is the most meaningful gift you ever received? My daughter was born on Father's Day. So that was the greatest gift I've ever received. And on June 17th, my daughter was born on Father's Day. Beat that as a Father's Day gift. Impossible. It was incredible just knowing how blessed I am. How can we figure out what's quantum within us, good and bad? So what does that mean, quantum in us? What are we inherited into our quantum being, our DNA? And through patterns is how we figure that out. So when we have certain characteristics, behaviors, obsessions, and addictions, those are all quantum in our nature. And it takes a little bit longer to change those or activate or deactivate the ones that we want. So looking forward to that. Serena, Sage, I'm looking here, making sure they're coming in. The truth is absolute. How do you define the truth as absolute? Love is the truth. Truth is the potential. It's the infinite and the limitlessness. That's how I define it, and I am pursuing it at all times. What is the best investment you've made recently? Best investment that I've made recently is Overactive Media, my esport investment. Serena, we will have you join. We got half of the crew here. There she is.
Hi.
Look what I have. Oh,
It's
and
nice to see it in your hands.
this is how much. So it's in my hands now because my wife stole it, and she absolutely loves it.
Oh, good. I
So
would have sent her one.
oh my gosh. Well, she'll probably, when she hears that you're on here, she's probably going to run up here to meet you and tell you what she thinks or has questions for you as well. Is Sage going to join us too?
Yes, Sage is joining us as long as she's
Uh,
not in labor, which I don't think she is. So,
no, well, you came on a little early, so I just wanted to grab you real quick. And anyway, for those people that don't know, this is, oh, there she is. Hold on. Let me grab her as well. See how I do this? There we go. Oh, hold on. Maybe it'll be in this one. There. So, all right. Oh, look who's here, Julie. This is my wife, Julie.
Hi.
hi. Oh, I'm turning my face sideways. Sorry. Hi, Julie. It's nice
Uh,
to meet you.
So
Oh,
nice to meet you
there's
guys.
Sage,
Hi,
and that's
guys.
Serena.
Hi. So we got your book last night, and I was so excited to read this. I've already read like 77 pages. I met your dad, I don't know, a couple times, but I always told Dave when I met, gave me this hug. One of your sisters, or maybe one of you guys, I don't know, was selling purses.
That's our older sister, Tracy.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he was standing outside our booth and we were talking and he gave me this hug, and I remember coming home to Dave and saying, he is so filled with love. He just effuses love. And
Thank you.
I loved it. So reading this right here, what is this? Why is this on here?
The feather is because, yeah, it was the biggest sign that we were getting from him after he passed away. We were getting so many feathers. So we kind of asked to
Yeah.
have it on the cover.
Okay, because that's what I get from my dad.
Yeah,
And
somebody
so
told
I was
us
reading
that.
this book. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say somebody told us that feathers can be a sign from a passed on loved one. And then we started to see them everywhere to the point that I even Googled if it was molting season in New York because I was
did
seeing
I.
them. Did you? Yeah,
Yes.
because every sidewalk, everywhere I went, feathers, feathers, feathers. And I was like, were these always here or is this, so it was,
Oh my gosh.
it was a constant reminder of him.
That is crazy. Yeah, because I was reading this, and by the way, it is so well written, and I am
Thank
so excited
you.
to read the rest of it. I love all the signs, and it's just a book of love for sure.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
congratulations to you both.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think he was such a love being, and I'm glad to hear that when he gave you a hug, you could feel that because
I did. I could
yeah.
see it and feel it. It was really amazing.
I still feel it now.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I felt it while I was reading your book.
Oh, good.
Yes, this book is amazing. I totally recommend this, especially for
Thank you.
people who have lost someone recently or anytime. It's really
Right.
cathartic.
Awesome.
Thank you.
so much.
That's the
you,
best
guys.
endorsement we could have gotten. So thank
Yeah,
you so
I will
much.
tell you, my wife never comes on here. So when she told me she wanted to meet you and had wanted to endorse this, I said, "Oh man, this is probably the best endorsement of it, from Deepak the Sadhguru to the Dyer sisters." She never came on, so that says something about this
Wow.
book knowing everyone. And
Thank you.
I feel it when I hold it. I haven't read anything except for the beautiful inscription that you guys wrote for me, which I was going to ask about green light because I haven't been able to read it. So I believe in the inscription. You talk about all green lights. And so I assume the analogy is towards everything goes my way. And, one of the things I've learned from your father was to think positively that everything's already done. So whether it's green lights and when you're driving, but in life, that even if things don't appear to be as if they were meant to be, they were meant to be, and it's for your best self or your better situation. And so I think that's inherent in that green light. But I was hoping that you guys could talk about having the green light perspective in knowing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Serena. That was your part.
Yeah, so basically our dad used to say that all the time. I send you all green lights. And it was exactly what you said. It was the idea that the universe is sending us when we go in flow, when we don't resist life as it is unfolding, but we rather just embrace it as it is happening. The universe gives us green lights. And I can't remember if Sage said last time or not, but the last time that we talked to you, Sage was saying how in that one Leanne Womack song, I Hope You Dance. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I was in the car with my dad one time and that song came on. You know the song I Hope You Dance?
Yeah.
So it's full of those beautiful cliche lines that they're really poignant, all of them. And he said to me, I agree with every line in this song except for one. And he said, I want you to listen to it and figure out which one it is or see if you can guess which one it is. I don't know if I got it right or not, but afterwards he told me that he agrees with every line except for the one that says, I hope you never settle for the path of least resistance. Because he said you should always take the path of least resistance. Because when the universe is offering you resistance, it's there for a reason, and you should look at that. And when the universe is offering you a path with no resistance, where everything is going right, you want something and it's there the next day, and things are just showing up. It's
all green lights.
It's green lights, and when it's all green lights, that you should listen to that, and that the universe is speaking to you through these through resistance, and that's and it leads into what we wrote a lot about surrendering in the book too, which is of a similar vein, not resisting your life as it's unfolding, but surrendering to the situations that you're in and how that can serve you.
Well,
yeah, so we think it's the greatest wish you could say to somebody besides love, right? It's love and green lights. Go with the flow. We hope that you have all ease and no resistance.
Right.
And one of the things, as I feel, one of the millions of adopted children of your father that changed, it's so funny to be in the position I am because, people will tell me all the time how I changed their life, and you look at them going, what did I do? And part of that is your father coming through me to other people, the lessons I've learned. And one of the blending lessons that I've learned is the two different worlds of faith, the two currencies of money and faith, objects of energy that we put into the flow to get what we want. And picking the right things makes us happy. And if we pick the wrong things, then we'll have our indicators or turn signals to go back to the green lights. I have these great car analogies. I think that faith is an ultimate GPS. Not only will it reroute us like a GPS when we get off at the wrong exit or we have a flat tire, we end up at the donut shop instead of a gym, but it actually will change our destination. So it's a super GPS, and allowing or surrendering the destination, not attaching our emotions to the outcome, really has a knowing to it. But encompassed in knowing is faith. And I'd love to hear from each of you how your faith has evolved, because I know I have 3 teenage daughters, and talk about what you resist persists. Nothing will display itself greater than teenage daughters of what you resist persists. So how has your faith changed and evolved from when you guys were teenagers to now you're parents and grown-ups and, you're sages yourself, no pun intended?
I could say for me that after my dad passed away, before he passed away, I was 25 years old when he passed away. So it was a growing up moment for me. And it was from there, many things happened. I got married. I got pregnant for the first time. I don't know if I talked about that last time, but when I first found out I was pregnant, I wasn't happy about it, even though it has turned out to be this wonderful blessing. And I'm so happy about it now. But finding out I was pregnant was for me a process in surrendering, because I felt, at first I resisted it, and I was filled with thoughts of fear and like all the things I would never do again, how much my life was going to change. I could never travel. I wouldn't have friends. I couldn't have a career. And it turns out that none of that is true. And it's been a beautiful experience, but it didn't turn into a beautiful experience until I surrendered to the situation I was in. And that's when I started to realize how wonderful this could be and will be, and now how wonderful it has been. And not to mention that I believed that my career was going to be over, 8 months after I got a positive pregnancy test. And it turns out that belief gave me the boost I needed to get this book going and get Serena going, and we got going together. We got the book out, and now I have a career and I'm a mother, and it's this beautiful thing. And I think it's just a process of learning, like you said, to have faith in the pieces that are showing up in your life. They're not showing up by accident. They're on purpose. When you resist them, you create more of what you don't want. When you accept, allow, flow, and surrender, you're going with God. You're going with the energy of the universe. And I think it's life-changing when you can shift that. And it's something you have to do daily. It's not something you do once and never turn back. I'm regularly reminding myself to just flow, and my life flows beautifully when I do that.
I had the same conversation with my wife, Julie, who you just met, when she got pregnant at 42. So it happens on both sides of the equation. So just be careful. Serena, how has faith changed for you and reflected in the book, in fact?
Well, for me, I didn't really have any major difficulties in my life up until 2015, which was when my dad passed away. I became a mother for the first time to my own child. My husband was arrested, indicted. And then after that, I lost my stepson. And then I had 2 more children in a 3-year period of time. So everything in my life changed. And I was very much stuck or drowning. And I was very much in this place of thinking that if we don't get in life what we want, but we get what we are, then I must be bad, because all of these bad things keep happening. So I had this like compounded shame, guilt, sense of responsibility for everything that was happening in my life. But it wasn't until I shifted my perspective on it. Or in other words, I had this idea that when all of the pieces in my life fell into place, then I could have peace. But I was raised to know the difference. I was raised to know that it's actually when I have peace, all of the pieces in my life will fall into place. And faith for me was having to remember that, having to remember that there is a presence of God within me, within all of us. There is a place within me that is full of peace, rather than the circumstances or the turmoil or anything else, and that I can go there. And so for me, I would say my faith was really tested, but it has come out stronger because I've chosen for it to be stronger, and I've chosen to connect to it. And I think that I'm so grateful for that, because even though I thought at the time that these were really bad things, they've ended up being enormous teachers in my life, enormous opportunities to grow. And my dad used to say, if you have big dharma, you have big lessons. And now I view it that way. And that is because I have faith that something bigger than me is moving the pieces. Even though I might not be able to see it, agree with it, or understand it from my limited human perspective, I know, I trust that it is there.
Yeah, pain's not a punishment, it's a push. Pain's an indicator that we have a lesson to learn. And the bigger the pain, the bigger the lesson, and the greater the growth. So you guys get that morning thing. Now, my favorite work of your father's, which my wife tells me is reflected in here, is The Power of Intention. I actually created a mathematical equation of luck for people from reading your father's book almost daily, which is what you pay attention to, what you focus in on, and what you give intention to, what you think, say, do, believe, and understanding the unconscious competencies of our own genetic characteristics, personality traits, obsessions, and addictions. Attention plus intention equals those coincidences. And we talk about two angles perfectly coinciding into one another. It's a mathematical equation of luck that allows us to expedite what we want in life, and not knowing exactly what we want, but pushing towards that, not punishing through it. What's your favorite work of your father, and how's it reflected in knowing?
Yeah, I mean, funny that you brought up The Power of Intention from where Serena left off, because speaking of using your suffering to catapult you into bigger and greater things, that's exactly what The Power of Intention was for our dad. It was, him and my mom were going through a nasty divorce, which ended up being a beautiful thing, and they stayed married. But we wrote about it in the book. It was not pretty, and our dad described it as the biggest storm of his life. But it's also the time that he wrote The Power of Intention, because he said, if I'm going to have all this suffering, let me use it to serve myself and other people. And so his suffering resulted in one of his, The Power of Intention is one of my favorite works of his as well. I also love The Spiritual Solution to Every Problem. I listen to it all the time on, I've listened to it probably 6 or 7 times in full on audiobook, because I listen to it for 15-20 minutes. It lifts my energy, even though I've heard it all before. Just listening to these, it's all based on the prayer of St. Francis, which Serena wrote about in the book, how you can use that prayer as a technology. Because go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that what you were saying before, David, about what you put your attention and intention on, you expedite having it manifest in your life. Our dad taught us from a very young age that another way of saying that, another way of looking at that, is that the prayer of St. Francis, for example, is not just a prayer. It is a technology for how to live your life. Because in the prayer of St. Francis isn't saying, dear God, I don't have any peace. My neighbors are doing this to me. My mother-in-law does this. I can't get any peace. Please give me some peace, which is coming from a place of lack. He says, dear God, let me be an instrument of thy peace. So in other words, let me become like what it is I am seeking, and let me offer it to others first. And the universe in kind brings it back to you tenfold. And we've had that experience so many times, but I think that's really what you were talking about, which is that what you put your attention and intention on it's not just that you can say, I want this, I want wealth, or I want love, or I want these things to show up. You have to become like them. You have to be loving. And one of our favorite things that our dad used to always say was that if you are not generous when you are poor, you will not be generous when you are wealthy. Because generosity is not a result of your circumstances, it's a result of your nature. And so, in other words, you choose the energy that you put inside of yourself and the energy that you bring to life, the energy that you bring to the world. And the universe responds by matching that. So if you are generous, if you are abundant, you will receive that back. And obviously that's something that he talked about in The Power of Intention. I think my favorite work, just to answer your question, would be I Can See Clearly Now, only because I love hearing about his life from a distance. In other words, not from him telling me in the car on the way to school about how hard it was for him when he was a kid going to school and had to walk in the snow uphill both ways, and all those things that dads say, but getting to hear it and see it as though I was discovering something about him for the first time when I read that book. And so I would say that's my favorite.
That's awesome. Well, you guys have provided a new knowing. Your father had provided a knowing. I always say one of the greatest lessons is I am, right? I am happy, healthy, wealthy, and worthy. What am I doing to interfere with it? It's a lesson I carry with me all the time. As I get choked up just talking to you two, because you're so wonderful and beautiful. And your book, it can't talk about acknowledgement. My wife reads a book a day. So she'll be done with this and I'll get it tonight. But for her to want to come on, expose herself to my Instagram is probably the biggest endorsement. So go out, if you are a Wayne Dyer fan or a Sage and Serena fan now or not, read this book. It'll change your life. These are the thoughts, the prayers, the intentions and attention that has changed my life. People ask me, oh, how'd you get through this? How'd you do this? Right there, knowing from the lessons from Dr. Wayne Dyer, the lessons of Serena and Sage Dyer, my two new best friends. I can't wait to come visit you both. You're extraordinary women. We have so many parallels in our lives. My wife was reading this last night. She looked up, she goes, oh my God, he was an 11-11 person. It's just like all these lessons reinvented themselves and articulated in such a wonderful manner. Any last things you'd like to say before we let you go? I know people can reach you at sagedyer.com, serenadyer.com, at Serena Dyer Pisoni. Is that your married name?
Yeah.
And at sage.dyer on
That's right.
Instagram. Last words, last advice, last thoughts.
I love that you brought up the 11-11 because it sums up what we were talking about. My dad he wanted to see the clock at 11:11, so he told all of us about it. I started to see the clock at 11:11 every single day. And it taught me that what you put your attention on, you get, So I was putting my attention on seeing the clock, and I sometimes would be asleep and wake up and it would be 11:11. Like, how did that happen? But it's just a lesson, in what you put your attention on expands and grows. And that's so much of what our dad taught us and taught the world. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. And just to add to that, I would say that one of my favorite things that he told me was, I'm such an analyzer. I overthink so often, a worrier. And I remember one time him saying to me that if he gave me unlimited currency and said, here's a beautiful new home and here's, $1 million, take this currency and go buy whatever you want and fill your home with whatever you want. He said, would you go and pick out things that you don't want, things that you don't like, things that you don't want to see? And I said, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And he said, well, your mind is like your house, and your currency in this lifetime is your thoughts. Do not fill your home, do not fill your mind with what you don't want, with what you don't like, with what you don't want to see every day, because that is what you will end up having in your house. Fill it with what you love. And I had to learn to retrain my thinking away from worry and what I don't want, and turn it on to love and just picturing what I do want and filling my house with that and spending my currency, my thoughts, wisely.
And you both do. Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. This will change the way you look at things. You are both wonderful. Go out, get knowing, reach out to Serena and Sage. We are a rebirth today with Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and his two beautiful children, Serena and Sage Dyer. Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for sharing your time. Please keep in touch. We're going to do a lot more together, like I promised. These are two of my just favorite people, new people that have come into my life. There's a reason I was born on 111 at 111.
Oh my God.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
We share that. I have a knowing, and so do you. Thanks to our mentor and your father. Thanks for sharing him with us. I appreciate both of you. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so much.
Yes.
Bye, Serena. Bye, Sage.
Bye.
All right. What a treat we've had today. They're incredible. They are amazing. They speak for themselves. Res ipsa loquitur. I'm so blessed to have them on. I have a friend, Adam Schwartz, has been waiting patiently for me. Thank you so much. He has a question. He is a co-founder and CEO of TeePublic, and would love to see exactly what he has going on. Thank you for your patience, Adam. How are you?
Oh, no problem.
I hope you enjoyed Serena and Sage Dyer. I hope you're a Dr. Wayne Dyer fan.
Yeah, that was great. I loved it.
Yeah, they're amazing. Anyway, give me a quick thing, background on TeePublic, and I know you have a question for me as well.
Yeah, TeePublic is an e-commerce marketplace where you can search for millions and millions of designs created by independent artists that span every subculture imaginable, from apparel, home goods, and art prints. And so really we're a marketplace, the world's largest actually of independent art. And my question for you is what art inspires you? What art speaks to your core self? I think that's what good art does.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm a big fan of Michael Brandup, who's also now a friend of mine, and we are co-inspirers. You heard of co-conspirators? We're co-inspirers. He's inspired me with his art, and I guess I've inspired him to do art. But Monet's another one that speaks to me, very much. I'm just amazed in that whole era. And then Peter Max is a modern day artist that speaks to me. I have invested in a CRM for art dealers and brokers called Artisanal. Been around art. Art to me is like music. People ask me, what kind of music do I like? I like music that moves me. So I have classical music, reggae music, Slayer, Kerry King is one of my favorite guitarists, Bob Marley, Common Sense. I mean, I probably have the widest spectrum of art appreciation because I want something to move me. I want something to touch me. Literature, music, art, all of it is there with the frequency. And I think understanding that frequency is one of the key components that I've utilized in branding that, like Michelangelo said, right? It's not what I say, it's how they feel and how I move them. That's why I don't speak to people. I try to find out what they're listening for. And I think a great artist is seeing what people are listening for and speaking through them, for them. So, finding your frequency, strengthening the signal, knowing your spectrum, and clarifying that message via art, music, literature, whatever it may be, it all is applicable, even in marketing and sales. And so where can, it's teepublic.com.
teepublic.com.
Where can they reach out to you directly?
teepublic.com. You can DM me here on Instagram at AGBS or Adam at teepublic.com is my email address.
And I have a quick question for you. We got 1 minute here, real quick. Why or how can literature, music, and art? How can art have like music has a vibration, so it can actually, you can feel it. How do we feel art or literature in the same respect? Because we do.
Well, art is art is a language without words. Art is when people say there are no words for something that's spectacular or miraculous. Well, that's where art can come in, and it can tap into something that is universal or something that is felt or something that is shared, and express it in a way that language cannot, that music cannot, through its own modality, and touch us in ways that are sort of more traditional forms of communication cannot. And I think that's what's so powerful about it. And what we're trying to do on TeePublic is make those forms of self-expression possible for millions of artists around the world to reduce the barriers to creating art and to be compensated for it. And for people, for consumers of art to similarly make it accessible. Art should not be, some rarefied thing, for rich people. It should be accessible for everyone and democratize. And that's what we're trying to do on TeePublic.
You nailed it, my friend. Thank you for your patience. Go out, reach out, teepublic.com, find your frequency, know what makes and moves you. Thank you so much for helping us and bringing such great questions.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, Adam. Take care, brother. Awesome. Check him out. AGBS, at AGBS. Adam Schwartz with TeePublic. Great marketplace. Nada, Elena, thank you for your patience. Let me see here. We will go live. My friend Nada is coming out with a new book, Rise Up For You, riseupforyou.com. There she is.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. I know we have people from around the world here, so pleasure to be
here. Yeah, Francis tuned in, that's for sure. Anyway, I love your new book coming out in August because my definition of success is what your book is about. I always say enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your own potential. Not what other people want, what's missing, what you don't want. As Serena and Sage were talking about Dr. Wayne Dyer,
yeah.
You've nailed it with this topic of rise up for you, closing the gap between you and your potential, not anybody else's. How important is it to know this quantum potential of our own, be able to adjust it, but know what it is? So many people never sit down and think about their what.
Yeah, it's super important. And I will say that, the reality is, David, that we all have blind spots. So we don't know what we don't know, right? And so that's why it's so important to surround yourself with great mentors and a great community that can also help you reach your potential. And that's what we talk about in the book. But the greatest tragedy today is wasted human potential. And I have a TED Talk that's actually coming out in 2 weeks just on this topic alone. And really what it's about is recognizing that you have to figure out your own what, why, and how based off of you, not based off of what you see externally. And I think that's the biggest challenge today, is that everyone is really trying to figure out what success is and what it means to them. But oftentimes we follow other people and then we get there and we recognize that's not what I wanted. I didn't reach my full potential. That's not the success that I was looking for. And so really tapping into your inner potential and understanding, what is it that I want? Why do I want it? How am I going to get there? And who's going to help me keep me accountable along the way? And what do I have to say no thank you to? Which is such a critical piece, right? There's a lot of things that we bring, that we consume in the day. And sometimes we have to say no thank you to things to make more space to invite our potential to come in.
That's so beautiful. And what you remind me of is, these ideas we share in different frequencies, and it's related to what Adam was talking about, Serena, Sage, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm listening to you and I was like, what a great way to explain what I teach, right? My 5 daily practices: know your what, know your who, know your how, know your now, which is involving prioritization and understanding what to do and not to do in the present, or being present, and then applying your why. I give those daily practices out with my book every day. That's why I post my email, david@dmeltzer.com. I think it's important though, because when I talk about those 5 daily practices, what, who, how, now, and why, some people are not at Dave Meltzer's frequency. But when you explain the what, the who, the how, the now, and the why, people are at Nada's frequency, and other people are at Serena's or Sage's or Dr. Wayne Dyer's frequency. And it's so important because we all carry our own vibration and our own frequency. Some of it is paralleled and overlapping, and some of it's not. With the aspect of social audiences, meaning that we have exponentially grown from being in an audience of 1,000 was exciting to me when I started my speaking career. And now I laugh at my team. They're like, oh my God, only 2 million people watched that video. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, only 2 million people watched that video, and that's a bummer to you? So how has that aspect of your empowerment journey, of your potential changed, knowing the size, scope, and scale of the audience now that you're launching, the TED Talk, your new book? you're about to hit a whole nother atmosphere of people, and that frequency will be received by so many more people. How has that changed the way you did things compared to previously before we had this great scaling?
So I'm going to be really transparent and honest here. First, say that I'm super humbled by everything that's happening, but I come from a passive performing, and I was really programmed and always thought that whether there's one person in the room or 10 billion in the room, you're going to show up the same. And so for me, I'm super honored with the scalability and the growth. But I remember when I first started building my business, David, and you might relate to this, and one person would show up. And I would say, doesn't matter if there's one person, I'm going to show up as if there's a million. And I think that mindset and just serving no matter what really, has come to fruition and helped build, the scalability that's happening now. So for me, again, I'm super honored with the scalability and how much we're growing. But my main thing is just providing value, whether there's one person or a million people in the room, providing value that people can take and implement and not only feel empowered by, but also have the strategy and the education to implement. And those two things combined are really, really powerful.
Yeah, my whole basis of my mission in life is to empower 1,000 people like you, to empower 1,000 people, to empower 1,000 people. It's amazing how compound interest and exponentiality can create a collective consciousness as well as build a business, create all types of savings. It all applies to the aggregate effect. Now you're having an event on Friday as well.
I am, and you're going to be there, and I'm super excited about it. So, we have a great community of entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches, consultants, and so we're running a free business conference that's all about gaining more exposure, gaining more clients, but while making an impact, because that is key, is making an impact on people's lives. So I'm honored to have you there. We're going to have 10 other speakers. It's completely free. You can check it out at riseupforyou.com/impact. And we'd love to have everyone there. And we're really just going to talk about, again, how do we magnify our business, gain more clientele while making a positive impact, which the world needs more of.
And in that abundant attitude, it's okay to make a lot of money and help a lot of people and have a lot of fun, which is why I love your perspective. I love the way you coach. I love the way you teach. I love the way you mentor. I love the abundant attitude of providing everything for free and allowing people to find the value in what you do, allowing the void to be filled by the universe, not making it happen for yourself, which is part of rising up for you and closing that gap, both in the professional world as well as in the spiritual world. Before I let you go, any last piece of advice, anything that I missed that you want to tell people? I know where to reach you is riseupforyou.com, notelena.com, at notelena_rise. Give us your last piece of advice or tidbit that can help us out.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to what I always say, which is the greatest tragedy is wasted human potential. Don't let that be your story. There's so much opportunity out there. There's so many resources. If you want to do something, whatever it is, if you want to build the business, if you want to build your confidence, if you want to be the leader that you want to be, don't wait. Go out there and make it happen, because no day is guaranteed.
You live between limitlessness and infinity in the instant of a second of that true presence of being a now person. Know your what, your who, your how, your now, and apply your why. Riseupforyou.com. Come join us Friday. I'll be speaking with some other great speakers, trying my best to empower people to make money, help people, and have fun themselves. Thank you so much for rising up for us and for you and being such an abundant, beautiful soul. I appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. The great Notelena. Come join us Friday. Notelena.com, riseupforyou.com. It's all posted right there. If not, reach out to me. As my friend states, know your what, your who, your how, your now, and apply your why. Reach out to me if you want that. I have an exercise document and a book, ebook, audiobook, and I will sign and send and ship and pay for a book for you. Just reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. You can join my text community, 949-298-2905. Everybody thought this was amazing. Thank you, Serena and Sage and Adam and Nada. Could not ask for a better empowerment crew. Talk about Tuesday. We're talking about knowing. We're talking about rising up for you. We're talking about the T public as well. Art and frequency. Find your frequency. Capture, modify, amplify, and perpetuate that frequency to empower others to be happy. Let me take one last question. I can't help myself, and we won't talk about fluoride. Let me take this question. Starting over at 55 too late? We don't start over. It's never too late. You know, Orville Redenbacher started his popcorn company at 73 years old. So if you're 55, I'm 53, by the way. If you're 55 and let's compare it to a 15-year-old. If a 15-year-old said, is it too late for me to start? Nobody would say, oh, 15? No, it's not too late. And if that 15-year-old got started and it took him 20 years to aggregate itself and become a billionaire, he would be 35 years old. And everyone say, what a great success, billionaire by 35. Well, at 55, you know more, you have more relationships, you have better capabilities than a 15-year-old. And even if it took you the same 20 years, which it won't because you know so much more and you know so many more people, and you know to ask for help. You know, if it took at 75, you'll be a billionaire. Why in what world is it too late? It's never too late to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential. Know your what, your who, your how, your now. Apply your why. Email me. I'll give you my 5 daily practices. I'll email, ebook, audiobook. I'll ship you my book. I'll send it with an inspirational message for you. I'll pay for it. David@dmeltzer.com. Just reach out and ask for help. 55, you're alive. If you're alive, it's never too late to do your best, to reach your potential, to pursue that potential, to make more money, help more people, and have more fun. That's what it's all about. Thank you so much for joining me on Talk About Tuesday. Don't forget, tomorrow is not hump day. It's Wednesday. That means more Good News Wednesday. And imagine what good news it would be if we beat today Serena, Sage, Adam, and of course, Nada. What a great day. At Rob Deerdeck on the playbook today. If you don't download the playbook, it's on every platform, Spotify. It's on Apple, Google. Download the playbook. We got Rob Deerdeck, the incredible Rob Deerdeck. It's one of the best podcasts I've done. Enjoy it today. David@dmeltzer.com. Join my text community, 949-298-2905. It's all pinned below. Remember, most importantly, everyone, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you tomorrow.